everything seemed to be there. They seemed to be the best Jon that we've seen in years.
And that's what I was going to get to. That was my next question I had. Can Jon Jones beat Tom? The first question was, who should he fight next? The next question is, can he beat Tom? And I've seen everything I need to see from the Stipe fight.
I think that the way the heavyweight division has shaped up and the way that the light heavyweight division has shaped up, and this goes all the way back to COVID, some of the things that was going on and the way the division looked kind of bad even back then. Who was the champion? You had Stipe was up there. No, then you had Francis. And when Francis was on that tear after he lost to Stipe the first time, and he just started knocking everybody out. Well, he was always doing that. But when you can see, okay, he learned from the Stipe fight, so he was coming back better, basically. For a moment, it was like, who really could come up and beat Francis? There was nobody for Francis to really fight at a certain time. That's why people wanted the Jon Jones fight, because we were looking down like, okay, other than Cyril Gane, which he beat Cyril Gane, it's like the division don't look that much more different. You had Curtis, who was coming up. You had Tom Aspinall. Tom was still going to be a person who was going to be in this position. The difference is, I think if Francis was a champion, we wouldn't be sitting here talking about should Francis fight Tom. I think Francis would sign the contract and be like, yeah, I want to fight Tom Aspinall. You know what I mean? And it's like Jon is getting the preferential treatment, which I understand with his age and everything, but he looked so good in the last fight. It's like, bro, everything seemed to be there. They seemed to be the best Jon that we've seen in years.
And that's what I was going to get to. That was my next question I had. Can Jon Jones beat Tom? The first question was, who should he fight next? The next question is, can he beat Tom? And I've seen everything I need to see from the Stipe fight.
You see everything in Jon Jones that's needed to beat Tom Aspinall?
Yes, I do.
What specifically do you mean by that?
I mean, the obvious thing will be getting out the first round. Because that's one thing with Stipe. Stipe got a lot of first round knockouts on his record. I mean, he was beating Stipe the first round. You know, they had to be part of his game plan to kind of get Stipe in the later rounds and then finish him. I mean, he tried to finish him in the first round too with a ground and pound, but that was just the opportunity for a finish that was there.
Right.
And I think getting Tom into the second, third, fourth, fifth round, that's something that'd be very important for Jon. And also, another thing I saw is, like I say, I mean, I don't even know if Tom can stuff the takedowns, because we know Jon Jones can avoid Tom's grappling, but can Tom avoid Jon Jones grappling?
Yeah, but my main concern when it comes to Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall is that you mentioned the first round, but the hand speed of Tom. The hand speed, bro.
He has.
And the combinations.
But you got to understand also.
And the power.
I understand what you're saying, though.
And the accuracy.
Tom had to have something else in his bag other than the 1-2. You know what I'm saying? That's why I thought Francis had a better chance of beating Jon Jones than Tom Aspinall, because the thing is with Tom, you know what I'm saying? He has the 1-2, but he don't really have nothing outside of that. That's a combination. Yeah, but against Jon, it's not going to work. We seen Stipe, it looked like he landed 1 or 2 punches, like the whole fight.
And now that I'm thinking about it, the 1-2 from Tom Aspinall is dangerous, but we haven't just seen a bag. And when it comes to his stand-up, like, he's only needed the 1-2 because the speed, the power, the footwork, everything else has been there to where his athleticism and his size, he got the power to either knock you out, drop you, get you to the ground and submit you. But the reality is you're going to need more than a 1-2 because you more than likely not going to land a 1-2 against Jon Jones. And we've seen people like Thiago Santos and even Stipe load up on 4, 5, 6 punches, 4, 5, 6 strike combinations, and nothing lands, or something just barely lands.
The only thing is with Stipe, he didn't throw jabs. That's why I said before the fight, I said I thought he would do better because I compared him to Dominic Reyes with their size. And I thought he would do what Dominic Reyes did, but he would be a little bit more aggressive, but he would actually setting up the right hand would be a little bit better. I thought he would do more of a jab, then he'll cut Jon off a little bit better, and then set up the right hand. And for some reason, he didn't do that.
And so if Stipe wasn't really able to do that, because at some point, Stipe couldn't do anything. He was frozen like a deer in the headlights. So getting out of the first round, and then at that point, what do you think could happen? Because we never seen Tom out of the first round. And you getting out of the first round, and depending on how the first round, like, does Jon get out of the first round by fighting on the outside and controlling the distance with striking, or does he take Tom Aspinall down, not only get out of the first round, but dominates Tom to a way it kind of looks like this, where it's like, okay, it's just a matter of time of he'll get him on the feet or they'll take him down and finish him. Like, what can happen? I was seeing a lot of posts on Twitter where people were saying they've seen enough. They think Jon Jones beats Tom Aspinall.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
But I see people who just think that Tom got the ingredients to do, like, you know, lightning in a bottle. I can see this being...
I don't think so.
I can see this being like a Chris Weidman, Anderson Silva thing, but... With the exception of Jon fights way smarter than Anderson. Anderson put himself in positions that Jon Jones would never gamble.
I don't think so. I think with Francis and Ngannou, that fight was more so set up almost for Francis to beat Jon. You know what I'm saying? Like, stylistically. But the thing is with Tom Aspinall, the only threat I see from Tom is the pressure. and him actually fighting aggressively, taking a punch to give a punch, you know what I'm saying? That trade-off, then he would actually have to put himself in harm's way to try to knock Jon out. And I think Tom actually would do that. Because that's the only way he's going to win is by knockout. But the thing is, Stipe didn't even land.
Because we kind of saw that when he fought Curtis Blades the first time, how aggressive he was. And to say that was a good version of Curtis Blades, who was on a win streak and he was knocking people out and stuff, that was a kind of a dangerous approach. But Tom also, like you said, he got the tools and he'll put himself in a dangerous position. Especially with all the smack that he's been talking, he ain't got no choice.
There's so many questions about Tom's cardio and stuff. We don't know how good he is in the later rounds. He might get stronger, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's not like...
He might have some heart.
Jon will have a lot of footage to go off of, too.
And that might be one of the reasons he's not taking the fight, because Jon liked to study film. That's the thing about it. Jon, he might not take the fight just because there isn't enough footage out there for me to study to see all your tendencies, because you've been so good against the opposition so far that these fights kind of been going Tom's way for the most part without that much of a hiccup, you know, or too many hurdles to cross.
Yeah.
So Jon is the type of person who like to see film. I like to watch your fights. I like to see how you fight when things don't go your way. I like to see when you in deep water. I like to see how you respond when somebody diving on 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 takedowns. We're talking about real deep, intricate study.
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said it, because I was thinking about this
real
too.
deep. How do you fight off your back?
I was thinking about this too, because Jon is looking at all those things, and we can say what we want to about Jon, but he's well-rounded. He don't have no holes in his game. And the only kind of hole he has is a little bit of boxing defense against certain opponents. For some reason, he don't like exchanging punches with people.
Well, he should. At this point in his career, I wouldn't.
Yeah. But like I say, I wouldn't even call it a hole or a weakness. It's just probably where he's not the most comfortable. But the thing is there a lot of footage on Tom? Because it's not like he's lost in the UFC. So it's not like he can go back and say, okay, like Tom, his takedown defense is not what it should be. His grappling defense is not what it should be. It looked like Tom, he has taken fights wherever he wanted to go, and he's dominated there, because he's actually taking people to the ground and finish them on the ground when he wanted to. He's beat people on the feet. It seems like Tom takes the fight wherever he wants it to go, and he dominates there. So he don't have a lot of holes in his game to really go off of, bro, for Jon to say, okay, I can do this to him.
There was one clip somebody posted on Twitter where they said this was the only time they saw Tom really struggle one of his fights before the UFC. I'd never seen Tom on his back before until this fight, but something happened, some type of grappling exchange, and Tom was on his back. But obviously Tom was undefeated. Tom only got one loss, huh?
He got like 1 or 2. I think 2.
How did them 2 losses come?
One
was an injury.
One was a submission, right? Then he
was it early in his career?
Yeah, it was early.
I don't think it was nothing like relevant to be like, oh, this is something you can just keep doing to Tom. It was one of them catching somebody early in their career. Yeah, his record is 15-3 loss to Curtis. He had a disqualification, illegal downward elbow, surprisingly.
Ironically.
And he got healed. Okay, so yeah, his first loss was back in 2015, completely irrelevant, submission heel hook. He was 3-0 at the time. And then his second loss, it came from a disqualification, illegal downward elbow, surprisingly. Ain't that a coincidence? The 2 people that we've known to get disqualified for downward elbows are in this conversation. And then the third one was the Curtis Blade injury, which obviously he hurt his knee. He didn't actually get finished or nothing, which obviously he was just injured. He didn't get knocked out or nothing. It's just a freak accident that they called. And then in the rematch, obviously he knocked out Curtis in like 2 minutes. So it ain't really a whole lot to go off of Tom there as far as him just getting beat up and losing and stuff. So you can't hold a heel hook from somebody in 2015 against him in 2024 or against going into 2025. So there ain't really nobody else for Jon to fight.